Hello, ladies. My name is Holly Moore, and I'm the Next Gen Children's and Youth Director, CYD, for the Fairmont Women's Day class. This training video is to explain the CBS protection policy you and your core group members will be signing. This form is required for core group leaders as you will need to be available on Wednesdays for what we call aftercare. This means in the event we have a children's teacher or a helping hand for the day with children enrolled in the children's program, 2 core group leaders will stay after the TD's lecture and supervise those children while the children's teachers and helping hands gather for a second lecture. A rotation will be developed by our coordinator. Please read the policy and sign it electronically. Core group members also need to sign the protection policy, as each week a member will be asked to volunteer to come down and be a helping hand in the children's program. This is a blessing and a joy to the teachers and children, and hopefully to the ladies as well. You, as core leaders, will review the protection policy found in your lesson books with your ladies, have them sign if able, and return the signature page to our coordinator, Becky Getter. I will now read the protection policy. The Community Bible Study CBS Protection Policy describes the practices required of CBS leaders, caregivers, paid and unpaid, and volunteers who interact with the children, students, and vulnerable people in their classes. Applying the protection policy. The protection policy applies to all leaders, occasional helpers, and caregivers, paid or unpaid, in the children and youth ministry, student ministry, and agape ministry. All such leaders, helpers, and caregivers are required to sign the agreement prior to serving. In addition to this protection policy, all regular leaders and caregivers in these ministries are required to complete the additional background information process prior to service, including a release for CBS to perform a background check. Regular leaders are those who serve with minors or vulnerable adults 6 times per year or more. Appropriate conduct. 2 adults not related to each other are required in all preschool and nursery classrooms. 2 adults are also required in any agape core groups. 2 adults are highly recommended in all elementary, middle, and high school classrooms, but it is not mandatory. If a teacher must be alone in the classroom for a brief period, he or she must provide visual access to the room via an open door or door with a window. No one under the age of 18 may care for or assist children in nursery or preschool age groups. This includes paid and unpaid caregivers and applies to all CBS functions, including, but not limited to, class, leaders council, fellowship times, and training. Those under the age 18 may be permitted to help with children above the age of 5 if they exhibit satisfactory maturity and responsibility. However, they must be under the careful supervision of an adult teacher and have the approval of the children and youth director or student teaching director. CBS expects class participants or their parent guardian to arrange their transportation to and from CBS class meetings or events. In the event that a CBS leader transports minors or agape adults to class, or the more unlikely event that a CBS leader transports a minor or agape adult to a CBS event from the class meeting location, the appropriate permission to travel form must be completed by the participant's parent or guardian. In such situations, children, students, and agape adults are to be transported in groups whenever possible. Common expressions of affection, hugs, support, prayer, or physical care taking, changing diapers, are appropriate in our community of caring Christians. However, physical expressions of affection must not be excessive or imposed upon another person. Only CBS baby, preschool, nursery, Typically, children under age 6, teachers should take children to the restroom or change diapers. The restroom door must be kept ajar, and the teacher should always be within sight of another adult. Teachers may take children ages 6 to 13 to the restroom as a class at a specific time. The teacher should remain in the hallway with the restroom door ajar. Under no circumstances should a child be taken to the restroom by anyone under the age of 18. Teenagers and pre-adolescents should not use the restroom at the same time. Classes must comply with any host church child protection requirements or local or state laws that apply. CBS leaders and teachers may not administer any medication except in the case of life-threatening allergic reactions, example, EpiPen, and then only with the prior written permission from the child's guardian using the authorization form used by this class. Prohibited conduct. All forms of abuse are prohibited. Abuse includes any abuse or neglect, including but not limited to physical abuse, emotional abuse, unlawful sexual behavior, exploitation, or behavior that breaches Christian ethical principles by misusing a trust relationship. Exploitation. Activities designed to break down inhibitions may include sexually demeaning comments, verbal suggestion of sexual activity or behavior, provocative clothing, unwelcoming or inappropriate physical contact, degrading comments about a person's appearance, display of suggestive materials, or requests for social involvement after the protected person refuses. Sexual exploitation is further defined as any activity between a minor or otherwise protected adult and an adult that is used for the sexual stimulation of the adult. It may or may not involve touching and is always considered forced, whether or not the protected person has consented. No person convicted of an offense that involves abuse, as defined in the above bulleted paragraph, against a minor in any jurisdiction may be placed in a leader or caregiver position within any CBS children and youth, student, or agape ministry. Occasional helpers are required to sign the affirmation page of this policy, certifying that they have not been convicted of any such offense prior to serving in any CBS children and youth, student, or agape ministry. Reporting abuse or suspected abuse. Any person who learns of or suspects abuse, exploitation, or other illegal misconduct in relation to a minor or protected adult while at a CBS activity, whether the suspected abuse occurred at CBS or not, must report it to the appropriate civil authorities in compliance with local laws. In addition, the information must be reported to the Children and Youth Director or Teaching Director immediately. The Children and Youth Director or Teacher Director must report the incident immediately to the class servants team and the area director. The area director and servants team will promptly ensure that the incident has been reported to the proper authorities in compliance with law. The team may seek professional counsel if needed. In addition, the appropriate CBS national leaders responsible for the class must be notified. The national leaders responsible for the class will notify the North American Regional Director, who will inform the Executive Director. The Executive Director will inform the Board of Trustees of any founded complaints and incidents reported to the authorities. All those involved in the report or investigation must keep all information confidential except as required by law. Community Bible Study places a high priority on maintaining a safe environment for children, students, and vulnerable people. Conduct in violation with the protection policy or failure to comply with this policy is grounds for removal of a CBS leader, teacher, or caregiver. Thank you for your love of and faithfulness to the Next Gen Children's and Youth Program.